Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today I am once again building something from The Legend of Zelda. It's definitely one of my favorite franchises. I've built tons of stuff from it over the past couple of years, including a Viking-themed Link cosplay that I recently finished off. If you've not watched any of those videos, you should definitely go back and watch them. I've got a playlist for the Zelda builds as a whole and also for the full Viking Link cosplay mashup that I did. I am really excited for Tears of the Kingdom that's recently going to be releasing here in, I believe, May. I wanted to kind of do something that was relatively simple and Zelda kind of themed as it comes to, because I know the second that it drops, I'm going to be playing it a lot and want to build a bunch of stuff from it. So I was trying to think of something super simple that I could build from The Legend of Zelda, and the Korok came to mind. They're the little tiny woodland creatures that are in the game. They wear these cool little leaf masks, and I thought, oh, that's kind of simple. You just cut out a leaf mask. So I wanted to try some techniques and make this something that was very beginner friendly to people out there. So today we are going to build a Korok mask from The Legend of Zelda out of EVA foam. Let's get to building. This should be a simple build for most people, a nice entry level into foam fabrication. My pattern is just 2 pieces, but you will notice that there's different colored lines on them. The black is for the base outline, the red is the cutouts, and the blue is for the scoring I'll do on the backside later to give a leaf dimension. I used some 6mm foam, traced my pattern as a whole, cut out the red, and traced it onto the front, then taped it back together. Then I cut out the foam with a sharp hobby knife, cut out the blue lines, and traced them onto the backside. Here I am going to score the blue lines on the back of the foam. About halfway through the thickness is good enough. You don't want to go all the way through. Then heat up both the front and the back of that panel. Push it over a round object. I have a PVC pipe attached to a wooden base with a glass domed eyeball to round off the top. As the heated foam is pushed over the object, it stretches it out from its original orientation, causing the piece to bulge out. This is a great technique for reshaping parts after glue-ups, making abs for chest armor pieces, or in this case, making ridges on a leaf. After seeing this technique, you could easily make a different shaped leaf to do some of the other Korok creatures in the game. To prevent it from shrinking back down into the groove, I fill in the wedge on the back with hot glue. Glue up should be really simple. Add contact cement to the middle edge of both pieces, let it dry for a few minutes, and when it's no longer wet to the touch, you can stick it together. You can see mine wasn't fully set because the bottom starts to pull apart as I work my way to the top. Just give it another minute or so and try it again, or if it continues to want to pull apart, put some super glue on that thing to pull together some of those leftover gaps. I'm sure some of you are probably wondering why I didn't cut the holes when they were flat. I was worried that if I did it before I heat formed it, the ridges wouldn't look right and it'd make it harder to align. Cutting it in mid-air is definitely not the safest method for sure, but I'm being really careful. Keep in mind my videos are sped up, so I am actually going pretty slow. Make sure your blade is sharp and know that when you hit a bead of hot glue, it's going to resist a little on your pull. Make adjustments. Any jagged edges can be cleaned up later with a rotary tool. Two coats of Plasti-Dip. To make it a nice leafy green, I hit it with spray paint to act as my base coat of color. I was surprised on how smooth of a finish I got from this leaf mask. Now it's time to add the layers of lighter green on the raised area. I hand painted on some acrylic paint, let the layer dry, then added a little more yellow and white with each additional layer. While this isn't extremely detailed of a paint job, I do like to keep reference images close by as I'm painting so that I can continually check my progress to see if it's at least somewhat accurate. Now to add a black cloth backing to my hole so that you can't see the face underneath. I'm just using an old sheer sweater that my wife was getting rid of. You can see through it pretty good. To add them to the mask, I made frames to keep the fabric stretched. Working with a low temp hot glue gun, you have to work fast, and these frames kind of help me to be a little more precise and not get as many wrinkles. I glue the frame onto the fabric, then the glued assembly gets added to the inside of the mask. Instead of my normal elastic banding, I thought it would be better to make this mask adjustable. So I'm just gluing some suede strips to the backside around the eye level on both sides. This also gives me the option to hang it onto a wall because I can loosen it up a little. I attach it mostly with super glue, then add a glob of hot glue in that middle circle to kind of fill that gap, and hopefully it'll kind of help to secure it a little further. And we are finished. Here is the end result. I think it turned out pretty good. It is definitely something that's super simple. You can get a nice finish on it, and there's a lot of different approaches you could take to this. If you didn't want to go the foam route, you could just as easily go buy some fake leaves, or even go pick out a giant leaf in your yard and cut some holes in it and call it a day. But this will probably last a little bit longer than that. So yeah, maybe you will try and make one of these yourselves and impress your friends with your ability to be super nice to woodland creatures, and maybe they'll give you a seed or a special prize for collecting a bunch of stuff in the game. Yeah, maybe you'll get some, and inevitably they're gonna ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these, tell them much props. I did make it adjustable so that my big head doesn't have to be the only thing that fits in it. But yeah, peace out. If you enjoy what I do here on YouTube and want to see more builds like this one, please consider joining these awesome people listed here with me over on my Patreon to build a bigger, better, more creative community together.